According to some reports, Shield was
Some.
According to some reports. Okay, yes, fine, thank you.
was on the verge of cancellation, and Disney saved it. To tell us, how is that? How are those reports affecting the morale of the cast?
As you said, some reports. I think there'll be more clarity on that later in the day, and that's about all we'll say about that for right now.
Is there any possibility they could run into any other heroes in space?
Of course.
There's always a possibility.
There's always a possibility.
that things will happen. We're going to have a lot of fun in space. And, this first pod is the first 10 episodes.
Yeah.
When we first come up, we find that that obviously the Coulson's there. And then very quickly thereafter, we're going to find out that the team is there. But
how do we get there?
But the where is there,
Yeah.
and the why is there, and how the hell do we get home is there. Those are the things that are going to be driving this particular pod. And it's just
and I love it because when I found out Coulson was out in space, I'm like, what? Going back to like season 1, who would have thought that this is where we would end up by season 5, and I love that we're all the agents will be subjected to new challenges and figuring out things, and we have Kree to deal with. We can actually mention that, and we remember how strong they are and how blue they are. So that's one element, and then we also have aliens.
It's the fun part about it is being able to talking to Jed Whedon and Marissa Tancheron and Jeff Bell, who are the showrunners, and the reason they're not here is because they're running the show. One of the things that they wanted to point out is that every season, the way that the stories have been told is the audience knows more than the team does. So, for example, you met Ghost Rider, you saw Ghost Rider, you saw Ghost Rider go home, you saw Robbie, you learned about his life, and then they caught up to that. This is the first time that there'll ever be a story that's told where the mystery that's in front of them is something that is they're learning at the same time that the cast is learning about it, that the team, that the audience, everyone is going to be on the same mystery train together.
Yeah.
So
May and Coulson are like the moment out of S.H.I.E.L.D. How would an eventual relationship between them would influence the team dynamic?
Well, May and Coulson always watch each other's back, and there's always this incredible friendship and history between the two of them. And there's definitely, over the, especially last season, a discovery, ironically through the LMD May, that there is great affection and underlying tension of love, whether that blossoms into romance and the whole Melinda phenomenon.
Melinda. Someone's been shipping.
It's a dish best served hot. But I just love that dynamic between the two of them, that they respect each other so much, and probably taking that next step, it's scary, because they don't want to lose what they already have. So I kind of like that slow burn.
But there's also the fun of this season in that there was so much you missed.
Yes.
By being in the framework longer than anybody else was.
Yeah.
That it's sort of like there's a piece of your life that's missing that went on with the other characters.
Right.
So they have memories of things that May, in quotes, did that you don't know.
Right.
And will continue to play with. And then you have memories of things that you did
as Hydra May
that have to affect what's going on. And actually, each of the characters
have residual
memories of what happened. So, like in particular with Fitz, we know that Fitz obviously did some terrible things while he was in the framework. That's still in him, and it's that question that some of us have to deal with in life, which is if you're put in a situation and you behave a certain way that is completely unexpected, and then you return to quote normal life, which is in space evidently, having to deal with that and having to rectify your own behavior is one of the fun things that we're going to be able to do.
And I love the fact that you are Madam Hydra right now. That's pretty badass.
I tried.
I
infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D.
You talk about the possibilities. It's a possibility, a huge crossover with the all-new series of Marvel, Runaways, Cloak and Dagger.
Look, we never say never. I know that you're trying to get me into trouble by saying that hashtag it's all connected. But the truth is, it one way or the other, it is all connected. And there are, some people would say Easter eggs, some people would say there's clues, some people would say there's just acknowledgement. Whether or not they actually do, and obviously, let's just be practical, some of those shows are not on the same networks. But how we do that and when we do that, we would never do that just for the sake of doing it. We need to do it in a way that's organic to story. And so when it comes around time for that to happen, that kind of thing could happen.
Right.
But, as we've often said, particularly with our younger shows, we want people to get to know those characters and fall in love with those characters the same way they've fallen in love with S.H.I.E.L.D. S.H.I.E.L.D. certainly is, as we're doing our first panel at Madison Square Garden, we like to refer to it as the heavyweight champions of the Marvel television universe. And so, being able to be involved or cross into that show is something that we would have to really work out and make it feel like it's part of what's going on, as opposed to just having to cross over for the sake of doing it.
And for us, we'll be celebrating our 100th episode, right? And you have to understand, I feel every episode is almost like a little mini movie. So in a way, we're so proud of what the writers and the cast and the crew have been able to work together to bring almost like 100 movies to life. It's really.
And you have no idea what it's like shooting in space. It's just so just
The
getting the rocket alone.
It's really expensive.
It's unbelievable.
Very time consuming.
You still have to get them home in time so they can get some sleep. It's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And the jet lag.
Exactly. We call it the rocket lag.